Welcome to the Wonder of WOOO podcast, where we highlight how businesses can scale profitably by serving others well. I'm Daryl Zavadny.
And I'm Ed Howie.
And this is
the Wonder of WOOO. If you're a business owner investing time, money, and marketing only to be frustrated by losing customers, then this podcast is for you.
Every time we do this, we sit and we talk about the fact that the wonder of WOOO and actually serving others well, it's not just a feel-good thing. It's actually really, really good for business.
I mean, it's really, really good for business. It's really, really good for life, too.
It is. So before we get started on today's episode, let's rise up real high, kind of talk, what is the wonder of WOOO? What are we even talking about?
For sure.
For those who might be new to our podcast.
Well, you notice that WOOO has 3 O's, and that third O is really where the magic happens, because we can intentionally win others over, but it takes true intentionality, purpose, systems, processes, all that to win others over and over again. And that is really where the value of the relationships we establish, both with our customers, our team, our friends, really comes to life. And that's what we're here to celebrate.
Right. Yeah. So winning others over with just one O is like, okay, but doing it.
It's that initial impression, that first glance, but then creating that relationship of intentionality where you're intentionally trying to serve each other, serve each other well.
Right.
That's what we love talking about. That's what we love learning how to do better with y'all. And that's what we love just kind of celebrating.
Indeed. Well, today's a fun topic.
It's an intriguing topic, Daryl. It really is.
So the title of today's topic is, will AI help or hurt your ability to woo? So will AI help or hurt your ability to woo? So do you have an opinion just as we get started?
I do have an opinion. Well, wow. I believe that AI is actually going to help us in ways we can't imagine. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, does that mean there's not a negative? Of course there's a negative, because frankly, everything in life is a trade-off, right?
Yep.
What I don't have a clear lens on is, and actually I have a little more, probably more to fear about, is AI going to be able to create artificial emotion?
Right.
Is it going to be able to create artificial connections? And so I believe that, I'm going to kind of cut to the chase, that AI is a tool for us to be able to do the things that only we can do. Mm-hmm. And so if AI enables you and your team to do things that have distracted you from intentionally serving each other well, mm-hmm. enables you more time to intentionally serve others well, and the ways you go about it, I think it can be a powerful thing.
Sure. So what I hear you saying in that is it doesn't displace or replace the need for WOOO, for winning others over and over. In fact, if anything, it enhances or enables it, potentially, is how you're seeing it. Is that?
It can, okay. but it's not a panacea. Nothing is. I travel a lot, and I would imagine that AI is. So those stores they have in the airport, and there's all different kind of operators, parodies, and hosts, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Well, over the last 3 to 4, 6 months, they all have gotten self-checkout. Mm-hmm. All right. And so I was in, where was I? I was in Newark Airport.
Okay.
And walked into one of those large stores. And it was 9:30 at night. My flight was delayed. I was just trying to find something to eat, something to drink, and a napkin to go along with my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is the perfect thing at 9:30 in Newark Airport. Anyway, so they had a bank of 8 self-checkout registers. But they had no bags, and they had no napkins. So I was able to quickly scan, which I think AI probably was like not only reporting to everyone in the world that I just got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with granola, amazing. Yeah. But also that the transaction was quick, and it probably reduced inventory, so they know they need peanut butter and jelly sandwiches selling at 9:20, whatever time, all that kind of stuff. But what happened is, there were 5 employees standing huddled together, doing nothing but talking to each other.
Okay.
And
You're looking for a napkin.
And I'm looking for a napkin and a bag. Uh-huh. All right. Now, one of the employees looked up and said, "Can I help you with something?" Right. And so I appreciated it. Mm-hmm. I wasn't betting on that happening.
Right.
Now, if that person, and again, it was 9:30 at night, so I'm not being a jerk, but I'm saying if that person had been kind of available, which a lot of times they are, then that'd been great, because I could actually had a relationship with that person. Now, sometimes I just want to go through the store, scan, check out. So it's not either or, it's and, but I don't think AI can replace human intelligence, and I don't believe it can replace human connection.
Right. Yeah. Now you've that came up, this AI and HI conversation.
Just recently.
Which you recently did a presentation to some folks, and the question was posed to you.
That was very similar to the question today.
Right.
Yeah.
And your answer was precisely that.
What was that artificial intelligence without human intelligence is still artificial.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're seeing some evidence of that, whether it be the wild pictures that people create on AI and people have 6 fingers and that kind of thing, or the whole principle of AI, the way that we as general consumers, I'm not talking about computer programmers, I'm talking about like in general business, the way that a brand strategist or customer service or someone in marketing or someone in accounting would use it, is that it is, in simple terms, it is built on prompts.
Mm-hmm.
It is what you ask AI to do.
Right.
And if you don't ask it the right thing in the right way with the right critical thinking, you will get an answer. You will get an answer from AI. Mm-hmm. The question is it the answer you need because it sounds really good?
Right. Yeah. Well, and before we sat down, we were talking about when computers came out. Now you and I are both old enough to know a life before computers.
We are. I mean, we it's kind of funny. I mean, this has come up in several conversations in the last couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. Is we are right on that cusp of we didn't have computers in schools, and we still had typewriters.
Yeah, yeah. When I remember being in college, and I had my first ever word processor. Because in high school it was typing papers and getting white out.
Yep.
Oh man, and then it was a word processor that had about 1.5 inches of screen.
That's right. It looked like it was a typewriter word processor.
It was a typewriter with like 1.5 inches of screen, and then you just kind of scroll and read your paper and. There it is, yeah, and so I remember that, and I remember this acronym that kept being used with the advent of computers.
That's right,
and over again, and that acronym was what?
Garbage in, garbage out.
GIGO. Garbage in, garbage out. Yep. Right, and it was
which still applies today to all aspects of our life, by the way.
Yeah, and so even to this thing called AI, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what you were just talking about is essentially prompts that access a data set.
Yep.
That data set is a defined data set, and depending on what is circled in that data set and what you ask will dictate the response. Right?
That's right.
So the GIGO effect still applies. It's just a monstrous metadata set instead of a small one in a computer.
Whatever metadata is. The example I can share is that me and the team were working on a project for a client. It was a RFP, it was a proposal. And so I was playing around with AI. And so I said, okay, we've done this and we created this and we created this and we created this, we created this. Now take this copy that we did for this brochure and take this and this and basically cut and paste it and put it into the prompt. Mm-hmm. And then I said, now it was for an event. It was some concept work for like a convention. I said, now take all this and create a AI. I said, you're a brilliant copywriter with incredible use, with incredible command of persuasive language.
Right.
Please, the CEO of our company, and I made up a character of the characteristics of the CEO, and said, please write a 3.5-minute speech, which the CEO can present in the opening session of the convention. And literally like 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's like the old movies, right?
Yeah.
It loads and there's a speech. Well, the speech was very corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you're a brilliant writer. You complimented it, right? You're a brilliant writer.
You don't want to offend the sensibilities.
No, you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah.
Feelings?
Good.
But anyway, but I said the content and the content and the intention of this is exactly correct. However, the tone of voice is much more corporate, and I want it to be more like a 6-year-old founder of a company who is talking to their employees more as friends versus employees.
Yeah. Wow.
And it totally restylized this 3.5-minute speech
That's it.
in this tone of which could be read. Either one could be read. They both would have been accurate, but it took a lot of intentionality.
Yeah.
It took a lot of strategic thinking to put that all in there. So, is that good or bad? Well, it can help us do more things, but it also means that we have more time to do more things. And so, relative to WOOO, I do think AI is a game changer in our ability to intentionally serve others even weller, even better, because of some things that is going to enable us to do faster.
Well, I think it's important that we explore it because today, if you're in our community listening or watching, you may think, this is great. I've got a couple of guys who are non-technical talking about
Can't tell you how it works.
a big functionality, and what the heck does that have to do with my business?
Well, and when I think about it, I know you have experience with AI in automobiles.
Yeah.
I've been a passenger. I got some funny story, but
Yeah.
what was your experience? Forget the business side. From a personal standpoint, tell about that Tesla drive.
Yeah, so Julie has a Tesla, and I was, for whatever reason, we were shuffling cars, and I was driving her car that day, and it happened to be in the month that Tesla had just come out with their latest software update with the self-driving version.
Okay.
And they were, it's a $15,000 software that you buy.
Oh, so you have to buy that after buying the car to get the self-driving?
It's
like an accessory?
That's an accessory.
Oh, no.
And so really, and the neat thing about Tesla is they're a monster data company, right? Because there's cameras all over that car. The screen shows every input that you have, and what it's doing is it's recording every incident from every driver of every Tesla, and it's aggregating all of that data and saying, what happens when, what happens if, when they pull up to the stop sign, when there's a car in the left lane, when there's whatever.
Okay.
And so it's through just, who knows how many, millions and billions of data points that they're able to then say, we believe we know how a car should respond when there's something in the road, when there's a stop sign.
Okay, wow.
So that's how a monster company like Tesla is trying to innovate the experience for me. Okay. So back to this deal. You and I were meeting.
That's right. Yeah.
I was bringing you some Sasquatch cookies, and we were having a lunch meeting. Julie's car had the free upgrade. They were following something that we've talked about with the wonder of WOOO, where it's like, hey, consider free.
Consider the power free.
Consider the power free. So they said, you know what, Julie and Daryl, we're going to let you try this free for a month.
We're going to get you to love it just enough to spend $15,000 the next month.
And so I thought, hey, no time like the present. Let's experience this. And so I put it on self-driving, autonomous driving, and I drove to Blanco.
And that's like 70 miles an hour down the highway.
Two-lane roads, no division.
with cars kind of close.
Yeah, and,
okay.
And so I have to confess that every time there was a car coming, I'm like, now, it is the result of all of this work, all of this stuff. I made it there safely. I think maybe there was once where
you were a little sweaty, if I remember.
Yeah, I was a little sweaty. Yeah. Now, it was a really, really neat experience to where I just thought, holy cow.
Yeah.
I can't believe I punched in an address and just said, take me there. And it turned, it wasn't just following the contours of the road. It literally stopped, turned, whatever. And it was fascinating. So it's clear to me as
Was it worth $15,000 investment? What did y'all choose to keep it?
We did not, because I don't trust it.
Okay.
With my life, right?
Yeah.
So the stakes were too high for AI for me.
At this point, who knows?
That I just thought I don't trust it with my life, but it was fascinating, and I was tempered. I was above the wheel. But I think the principle for me is, again, if you're not Tesla, you're not, getting these gajillion data points and, trying to build this autonomous vehicle. It's clear that AI is going to change the way that we live. it is completely clear across every sector, across every industry, no matter who you are, what you're engaged in, AI is going to change it. The question is, what is the HI part of it? Like, what's the
what is the intelligence?
And what is it for your business, right? You know,
So let me give you an example, and my guess is it links to AI. So I flew in late the other night from Arizona. I landed 12:50. And I love Uber drivers, but past 11 or 12, you got to be a very unique person to want to drive an Uber at that time. Right. And so I get in. This guy it's a Tesla 3. I don't know all the numbers, but basically it's this stand. He pulls up to pick me up, and first the younger guy gets out of the car and greets me at 11:50 in the morning. Pops up the trunk. I put my luggage in.
At night.
That's night, yeah. Well, AM. Like dark at night. Anyway, he's all chipper and happy. I'm like, cool, that's awesome. So get in the car, and the screen is big.
Yeah,
and I look,
it's big,
and I didn't know what it was, but there was Santa and reindeer on his screen, and my first thought was, he is listening to Christmas carols in September, and at 1 a.m. I'm going to listen to Christmas carols.
Yeah.
But the music wasn't Christmas carols. And I'm like, hey, dude, what's with Santa? And apparently he had some kids in the car, and you can change the avatar of your car. Mm. Do you know? Can you have Santa?
I haven't done it.
Okay, so look for it. Okay, so he, instead of having like a car and other drivers, he had Santa's sleigh was his car, us. Awesome. And then all the other cars are reindeer. Yeah. And then if a human walked in front of it, it was an elf.
Oh, funny.
Okay, so that's awesome. That is WOOO.
That is WOOO.
Yeah.
Well, so I guess when we think about this, right? So we're not Elon Musk. Yeah. We're not we're not building the car company of the future. But again, the application for our community is to say, AI's coming, and what are you going to do about it? So, are you approaching it with fear? Are you approaching it with a protectionist point of view?
Yep.
Does it change your intentionality, or does it distract you? So I think that to me is the big thing. As we talk about AI and whether it helps or hurts your ability to woo, is whether or not it's a distraction or an enabler of this pursuit of a lifelong customer.
So I think what we do is we go back to the really foundation of winning others over and over. Mm-hmm. And that is, you have to know what your customers want, you have to know how to do it, and you have to be able to do it over and over again. Mm-hmm. So I think that we go back to the foundational principle of our framework, and that is, you must know what the customer wants, mm-hmm. you must be able to do it, and you must be able to do it over and over again, mm-hmm. Consistently and profitably. I think AI will be able to help us better understand what customers want. I think it already is, obviously. It can help us discover ways, or brainstorm ways, or reveal ways, or study ways of getting things done. Right. And then it can also help us do things more efficiently, more profitably. So I would say that yes. However, it all hinges upon the human intelligence.
Right.
It may give you an answer that is brilliant, but is not what your customers want. Mm-hmm. Or it may give you an answer that's brilliant. I say answer in quotes,
right?
But that has no context to what your actual business is. Mm-hmm. Or it may give you an answer that, while you can do it over and over again, it's not really what demonstrates the best thing about your business or your brand.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think when I hear you saying that, I hear you saying AI in the absence of strategy, AI in the absence of a clear orientation toward the customer, caring for your staff, is a distraction.
It's a distraction, but it's also a hazard. What I have seen, and I get it. You're operating a nonprofit. You're literally trying to multiply pennies to be able to fund and fuel the delivery of your mission. Or you're a startup, that kind of thing. And so you see an infomercial that says, well, we can build your entire marketing plan, your social media strategy, all in seconds through AI. And that is actually not wrong. That is not a wrong statement. However, if you're not a marketer, if you don't have the right data to put in, if you don't have the critical thinking to actually discern what the output is, then the last thing you want to do is all of a sudden cut and paste, and that becomes your social media post. We've had more than one client automate through AI their social media post, and either all of a sudden there's an erosion of that it is no longer sounds like the brand or looks like the brand, or it makes sense but it doesn't. It's like because the contextualization could be lacking. And so I would just say that, it really is making sense. AI must have HI, but HI I think needs AI.
Right.
And so I don't think, I would tell you our friend Elle, Elle from Brand Builders Group, she made a comment, and it was basically, whether you agree with AI or not, if you're not fully investigating and exploring all the ways it could be used, you will be left behind.
Yeah.
Okay. Is not a like, should I be exploring and learning it? I think as you must. And I would say at this point, if you and your organization are not exploring it,
not curious,
but not really exploring and digging into it, that could be hazardous to your brand.
Right.
At the same point, using it recklessly could be hazardous to your brand as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's very aptly said. And, I think there might be a temptation from folks in our community to think that this doesn't apply to you and your business sector. And I think that is a very cautionary tale.
Yeah.
Because as we said at the outset, like AI is changing. It has changed the way we do life, the way we do business. It will continue to do so. So to your point, Ed, business owner, business leader, you've got to be curious. You've got to investigate and understand that there are cautions around it. It's uncharted territory. So we talked about AI plus HI, artificial intelligence plus human intelligence. We talked about garbage in, garbage out.
That's right.
I think there's, we've had some conversation about authenticity, about being true to who you
contextualization,
contextualizing. And part of that is really just strategy.
That's right.
Right. So, business owner, all the folks who are part of our community, we would encourage you continue to explore how AI can augment or supplement your business strategy. It will help you in pursuit of winning others over and over.
Well, and to add to that is I guarantee you, if you're not there yet, there are early adopters in your network of business owners, business leaders, your employees, whatever it may be. Yeah. You talk about be curious, but also be intentional. Right. Is start digging in.
Yeah, absolutely. Ed, been a fascinating conversation.
I know.
We probably have future episodes about this.
Well, it's not going away.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, if it can enable us to have a stronger human connection, because the things that disabled me from being able to do that I'm now able to do, then bring it on.
Absolutely. Ed, every time we wrap up, we say the same thing. And I do think, particularly as it relates to this conversation of AI, which again can potentially get to a place of like, I'm just outsourcing that. And I think what we're saying is not at all. So with conviction, every time we do say what, as it relates to,
in all situations, everyone wants WOOO.
They do, indeed. And folks, we appreciate you being with us, as always, with the Wonder of WOOO podcast. We look forward to spending time with you next time. Until then, take good care.
Thanks. So that's it for today's episode of the Wonder of WOOO. Head on over to Apple Podcast or wherever you listen to subscribe to our show. One lucky listener every single week who posts a review on Apple Podcasts will win a chance in the grand prize drawing to win a $25,000 value private VIP day with Daryl and me. Be sure to head on over to the wonderofwoopodcast.com and pick up a free copy of our gift. And please join us next time.